I've been a long time consumer of YouTube camper build videos, and I've learned a lot from other people's experiences and perspectives. And I have now started my own build project, and I at first wasn't going to YouTube it, but decided that it might be a fun way to get some feedback along the way, and perhaps others will benefit from my perspective as well. I have a few features that are a little different than I've seen anywhere else, and I think that I have something to offer that like I said, I haven't seen. So, as you can see, I've decided to go with a truck camper. I have a 26-foot cargo trailer. Uh, Early ideas were to put the camper space in the front of the cargo trailer, using the back of it as more of a toy hauler. But I finally decided, for various reasons, that I'll go ahead and go with the truck camper. I would like to maintain some independence between the cargo space and the camping. Allows me to travel lighter if there are times when I don't need the full rig anyway. Um, so this is the basic design, nothing too earth-shattering about it. I will be building for a Dodge Ram 3500 8-foot bed diesel truck. Since I am pulling a trailer, these angled off areas in the back will allow me to turn more tightly than if I squared it off. And aerodynamically, an aerospace engineer that I was listening to years ago commented that when it comes to the front end of an object going through air, the pressures tend to build up around it and kind of smooth itself out, and that the real efficiencies or inefficiencies are caused at the back of the body. And I'm not saying it doesn't matter what the front shape is, it absolutely does, but for reasons of construction simplicity, I decided to go with just an angled off front end. The camper is fairly tall. Um, I don't know if you can see it here, but the solar panels are going to fit within the wall area, so they won't extend above that. But overall, it is kind of a tall camper, but I just felt that that's what meets my needs. If you look down here, this is the actual floor level of the camper. This is the bed. I want it to fit in the bed with the tailgate able to close. So the bed height is there. And if I go to my side view, I'm going to have compartments here. The front one, I've debated, do I put my heavier batteries? I currently have 3 lead-acid batteries. I'm designing so that I could go that way, but if I want to increase capacity, I could go, or reduce weight, I could go with uh, the lipos. But this first compartment, and these aren't to scale, things have changed since I did this drawing, but the first compartment will actually be my water tank. Second will be my battery bay. The back will be my black tank, and the gray tank here with some storage compartments in the middle. The intent is to put as much weight far forward as I can and keep it low, which doesn't really work for the black and gray tanks. But since my access to those needs to come out the back, I don't want to cut holes in my truck bed. That's the most reasonable place to put them. So front to back, it's not ideal, but it is at least lower. Um, if I switch over to the assembly view, this is the basic layout. I was originally going to go with just my personal needs. I'm flying solo right now, and so I was going to go with a single twin mattress and keep the overall build smaller, but it may not always just be me, and resale value and whatnot favors a probably a larger bed area. And complexity wise, it's not a problem. And so right now, I'm modeling a 1 foot thick queen mattress, and there's about 2 feet from the top of the mattress to the ceiling here. For me, I'm a small person, 5'6". That gives me room to put my knees up while I'm on the bed. So that's kind of what determined the height overall, while still allowing me to have the floor with the space that I wanted to underneath. The ceiling height, I don't remember, it's close to 6 feet. But it really was, by the time I got this dimension for over the cab and a mattress and that height there, that's what really determined the height. So long as I had standing room, that was my major concern. Feature wise, this box back here reserves space for a small dual fuel generator, runs on propane or gasoline. 1700 watts, is that right? 1700 continuous. Not really intending to run it here, but if I'm running without the trailer, I do want a place to store it. I will have solar panels on top, but I want that backup. This is a room or a window style cooler, very lower capacity. It's a small space cost wise compared to a roof mount. These window units are much cheaper. I'll design the compartment so that it's bigger than what I need, so that if ever this fails or I need to upgrade or change out the models, I expect the dimensions won't be exact, and that'll give me some room to play around there if I ever need to change. Propane tanks I will use for my stovetop. I bought a lot of the things that I am going to use. I already have the sink and the stove and the refrigerator and the microwave. I actually have the diesel heater as well. And so these are actual size that I can play with, but I didn't buy them specifically for this camper, the truck camper, but now I'm going to make them work since I already have them. But back to the propane, if you've ever run out of propane in the middle of cooking, it's annoying. I will have electrical backup, and so that's always an option, but I wanted the two. I may not always travel with two, and then I can use the storage space for something else. But as far as the mission for my camper, I'm optimizing for a single person full-time living if necessary. I don't have any immediate plans to go full-time RVing nomadic, but I want it to be comfortable for one person to do that, or two, possibly two. Optimized for one at the moment. Like I said, I'll be using a twin mattress and probably use the rest for closet or storage space. The let's see, secondary mission would be I want it to be easy to pack up and just take off on a more spontaneous trip overnight without too much prep to get ready or to put everything away once I get home. But really, it's optimized for longer term. I would like to be able to boondock for up to 2 weeks comfortably. The water tank that I have is for, I believe, 42 gallons, and the black and gray tanks will be sized to accommodate that kind of a stint. I would also like to be able to mooch dock comfortably for maybe months at a time. And again, having the gray and black water tanks as opposed to a cassette toilet or something like that would allow me to hook up and just stay hooked up if I wanted to do that. Kind of the theme for this is, to use my grandma's phrase, snug as a bug in a rug. I just want everything to be tight and tidy and comfortable. Not a lot of overhead for dealing with the camper itself. It's ready to go and ready to stay long term if I need. Earlier designs, I was going to do slide outs and do more of a flatbed and have little more space in there, but it adds a lot of complexity. The water seals and all is more of a headache, and the camper itself, the truck capacity has to be able to handle the truck or the slide-in camper's weight plus whatever I put in it and the tongue weight of my trailer. And so if I have a really heavy camper with slide outs and all, then my ability to tow could be impacted. And so I decided lighter, smaller space in the camper, and if I need a little more room to stretch out or do other things, I have the trailer option to put tools or toys or whatever I need to do there. So dual propane tanks, may only run with one. I'm going to go with one of these diesel heaters, and the fuel tank is located here so that when I fuel my tank, or yes, my truck tank is about here. Hopefully I can reach this without too much trouble. I would like to be able to close my tailgate most of the time, especially when I'm pulling a trailer. That's necessary. I think I would like to have the backup camera on my tailgate, but if I'm not pulling the trailer, I can see putting that down and using this space maybe to put a washing machine or something. It becomes an option to extend my capacity. I do have a dual, what do they call it, crew cab, so I have a back seat area which also I can use for additional space. I'm going to go with one of these chest refrigerators, 12 volts. I've used it before and it works all right. Sink wise, this is a fairly large sink. It has a bamboo cutting board that blocks half of it, so that will extend whatever sideboard countertop space I have, plus it'll work for draining dishes, and it has all those kinds of things built in. Dual burner propane. This is a microwave convection oven air fryer combo, and I can't run it while running the cooler, I think, watt wise for the inverter that I have, but I can get around that. That should be fine. I live in Utah, where things get cold. I have family that lives in Arizona, where things are, well, basically variations on a hot theme. And so I want for my camper to be well insulated. Construction wise, the walls are all going to be built with that 0.2-inch plywood panels, exterior and interior, with 2 inches of the XPS foam in the center. I don't count on I've done some experiments with the foam, and I'm not satisfied with the you can't use it structurally for making structural sandwich panels. My experiments tell me. I'm concerned that over time I'll get delamination from the walls, and so I'm going to have to anchor the outside panel to the inside, but try to minimize the number of thermal bridges because I do want it to be well insulated, all weather camper. So if I can come back here, show another view. This is the just top view, front of the camper, zooming into the top left corner. This is, whoa, sorry, out of control here. Lost my place. So this is the corner, and my construction is here. Here is a 0.2 inch plywood, top down view, left and right. I'm going to be covering it with fiberglass, and so I need to be able to radius the fiberglass around these corners if you've ever worked with fiberglass. And this isn't poor man's fiberglass, it's the real and stiff material. And so I need this to be radiused. I'm also cheap, so I'm using cheap 2x4s and 1x2s to do these edge pieces. But I'm using I've done it in the past with a router for other projects, nothing quite like this. But if you can imagine, this is a 2x4 cross section about here. I'm ripping it in half, giving me a 1.5 in one direction, actually this way here, and then about a 1.6 or so in the other direction once you subtract the kerf from the cut. And then I notch out these edges so that I get a lap joint between the corner and these panels, and then I will wrap fiberglass around the edges. It's a cheap lumber doesn't like to hold its shape very well, and I'm finding especially once you rip that 2x4 in half, the whole thing likes to warp and twist, and so I'm going to have to try and cut them and put them in place as quickly as possible. And maybe I'm going to have to adjust and go with better lumber. I don't know. But so far, I've been able to get part of the way to the build, and that's the profile that I'm using, and it's working well enough so far. So that's the overall design. Look at my notes here. Oh, another point here is I prefer, from a build perspective, to design things in a lot of detail more than not. And so this is my CAD drawing up to a point. The trouble I'm having is after many years of coding and CADing, my back just won't let me sit at a computer for too long anymore. And I have to pace myself, and this isn't the only project I'm working on. I also reached a point in this design where I've never RV'd before, and so there's a lot of things that are new to me, and I don't know what I don't know, and I felt like at this point I kind of want to get a feel for what the space is like. This area here is going to be the breakfast nook. I need to be able to work while I'm out and about, so it's going to have a sit-stand desk because that's something I find necessary. But what does that space really look like? And so I was thinking, well, I would like to do some mock-ups, and I concluded, well, maybe since I don't have the health units to do as much CAD work as I'd like anyway, because I've got to do programming for other projects, maybe I'll have to just freeze the design, or at least the basic dimensions at this point, and the rest of it's going to be cowboy engineered out in the shop. I don't like doing that because I make stupid mistakes, as I'll show in a minute here, when I don't have complete drawings to begin with. But that's kind of the approach I'm going to have to take here, and has its pros and cons. This space here I would like to keep more open so it's not as claustrophobic. This will be closed in. It's not exactly a mudroom area, but where you put dirty boots and whatever coming from the outside. But this is, I would expect to have some windows on this side and this size. I would like to make it feel as open as possible, but I kind of need to get a feel for what that's actually like. Anyway, so that's the CAD side of it. So my intent at this point was to show footage of the work that I've been doing so far. However, I'm having technical difficulties as I try to climb a learning curve. This is my first experience video editing, and this is the third one I'm trying that I'm finally getting to work with voiceover. So anyway, this is kind of this was last week, and then this clip here is where it's at today. I'm going to try and come out with weekly progress reports. This project is a project of months, not years. I need to get all the external fiberglassing done by the time the cold weather sets in. So tune in next week-ish, and thanks for watching.